Hi, good morning. My name's Helen, and today I'm going to take you through a mini sequence, about 20 minutes, focusing on the Manipura Chakra. So the Manipura Chakra in the solar plexus relates to fire, and it also relates to self-confidence, willingness to be open and positive. When we're out of balance in our solar plexus chakra or the Manipura chakra, we have low self-esteem, a bit sluggish, lack of willpower, and when we're balanced, we feel strong, we feel empowered, we feel confident. So by bringing in some asanas or postures which stoke that fire, that helps to balance us and be more positive and more out there. So that's what we're going to do this morning. It should take about 20 minutes. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to start this morning in child's pose. So we're just going to rest down. So if you've got any problems with your lower back, bring your knees slightly closer together. Otherwise you can have the toes touching and the knees slightly wider apart. Forehead just relaxes onto the ground. And just, if it's comfortable for you, you can just take the hands to the side. Or if you prefer, feel a little stretch, but not stretching too far at this point as we start. You can take the hands in front of you. So just relaxing here, just focusing on the breath, being present, then all your to-do list. Come into focus, acknowledge the thoughts, and then just let them float away to be picked up later. Just feeling the flow of the breath through the body. So we just spend 20 minutes on our mat, being present, enjoying our practice. Just relaxing, focused, happy to be here. If your arms are by your sides, then just bring them forward and stretch the fingers out. We're going to go from here into our downward dog position. So if you can reach the fingers forward, it gives us a really good base to go straight into our downward dogs. So the next inhale, leave the hands rooted into the floor. As you come up on the knees, tuck the toes under and send the hips back up towards the ceiling. So just checking our position here. So fingers are open, middle fingers facing forward. Really working on that energy between the palms of the hand and the sit bones. So raising the sit bones up towards the ceiling, chest comes towards the thighs. Feet should be hip width distance apart, a slight tuck in the heels, bring some inward, internal rotation in their thighs. And from here we're going to come forward into plank position, so heels pushing back, engaging the core. And then we're going to come down onto our forearms, so into a forearm plank. So when we can really push the heels towards the rear of the room, shoulders are over the elbows and the hands are flat on the floor. Gaze is just in front of our hands. Really engage the core, but maybe try and keep the hips up so they're nice and straight. From here, I'm going to drive the hips backwards into dolphin pose. So like downward dog, the hips reaching up towards the ceiling. Holding here. Exhaling back to our forearm plank. Take the left arm and we're going to just raise up back to our plank. Back to our downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Really aligning the spine, is pushing the chest back towards the thighs, perhaps bending the knees, just to make sure you really feel that line of energy between the hands and the sit bones. The next inhale, look forward, and we're just going to step forward, a forward fold, bend the knees, and we're going to come up to Tadasana, standing the hands and Jani Mudra in the centre, and then down towards our side. Just take a few breaths here. Shoulders relaxed back, stomach is engaged, rooted through the feet. We're going to warm the fire up now. So we're going to take some sun salutation A. Sun related to the fire, stoking the fire in our Manipura Chakra. So as you inhale, raise the arm, lift the gaze. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold, head goes down towards the floor. Watch the lower back, so keep the knees bent to take the pressure off the lower back. Hands either side of the feet. Inhale, lift the gaze, flatten the back, bend the knee generously. As you step back with the right foot, followed by the left, into our plank, and we're going to come all the way down to the floor with control. Chest and hips at the same time. Swap the feet, point the toes, keep the toes on the floor. As we inhale, lift the gaze, lift the chest into our cobra. Now with control, back down to the floor, swap the feet and drive up via the hips into our downward facing dog. Check the hands, check the space between the fingers and the thumb, check the feet. Sure one foot's not in front of the other, that they're hip width distance apart, quite often slightly wider than we think it's going to be. Again, bend the knees, we're aiming for the heels towards the floor. They may not make it, that's fine. And just relax the shoulders, so broaden the shoulders down so we're not stopping the energy from the hands, staying in the shoulders, but actually that energy is flowing from the hands to the sit bones. The next inhale, look forward, and we're just going to step it back towards the hands into our forward fold. Bend the knees, tip the hands up, hands back to the heart center, and Jani Mudra, and back to Tadasana. So rooted through the feet again, shoulders back around, engage the core, sit bones under. As we inhale, raise the arms above the head, gaze towards the fingers. Exhale, bend the knees, chest hits the thighs before the head comes down into our forward fold, hands by the side of the toes. Inhale, bend the knees, flatten the back, lift the gaze into our half forward fold. Exhale, step back with the left to our plank. You can take a knees option if you prefer, otherwise stay in plank, heels push towards the rear of the room as we lower down in one movement. Elbows skim the side of the ribs, flatten the feet, feet staying on the floor as we inhale, lift the gaze, lift the chest into our cobra, back down to the floor, swap the feet, try and skim the knees off the floor as we drive back to our downward facing dog. 3 breaths here, focus on the breath, feel the stretch of the hamstrings, and try and take the weight back to the lower half of the body. So we should actually tend to just use quite a lot of strength in the front of the body, but we really should be putting maybe 70% of the weight to the legs, the feet, driving down, but not forcing. Inhale, lift the gaze, look towards the hand, bend the knees, and step forward into our half lift, Down to our forward fold, bend the knees, lift the arms above the head, back to the heart centre, and back to Tadasana. Third time now, inhale, lift the gaze, exhale. Chest and thighs meet, head lifts down, sort of drops down, so the gaze is towards the knees. Keeping the knees bent and keeping the pressure off the lower back. Hands by the side of the feet. Inhale, lift the gaze, bend the knees, flatten the back. Exhale, step back, plank and straight down this time into Chaturanga Dandasana. Lift the gaze, lift the shoulders. Lower with control, swap the feet and drive back up for our last down facing dog. Focusing on the breath. Relax the head, broaden the shoulders, lifting the sit bones up towards the ceiling. Inhale, look forward, stepping back forward into our half lift, forward fold, bend the knees, and coming back up to stand, now mountain pose, our Tadasana. Resting here. Just going to move down to the floor now, so we're just going to forward fold, bend the knees, half lift as we inhale, step back to a plank, just coming down onto all fours. Just going to drop onto the side as we come over to a seated position, and we're standing here in Dandasana. So just engaging the core here, flexing the feet, really strong through the legs, strong through the upper body. Fingertips just resting either side of the hips, shoulders broaden, back and down, crown of the head is lifted. Thinking about our throat lock here. So just bringing the chin slightly in towards the neck. Just holding here for a few moments. We're going to take some boat pose, so Navasana, really working the core, so the Manipura Chakra relates to the digestive system, stimulating positive digestion, if you like. So working with our core, Navasana, it's going to really power us up. Okay, so bringing the feet flat on the floor in front of you, knees nice and tight into the chest. We're just going to hold behind the knees, really lift the chest. So as we're in this position, we want to really bring the chest forward and the elbows back. So we don't want to slump here. We want a line of energy, our chakras all up along the spinal column. We want to open up the chest. Toes on the floor, and we're just going to lift the toes off the floor so our toes are level with our knees. Perhaps they're slightly lower, wherever's comfortable with you to start with. Make sure the knees are together, so we're really fighting to bring the knees together. You can use a block, sometimes more useful. And then we're going to slowly take the arms away, leaving that arms level with the knees, really lifting the chest, keeping that back straight. We just hold in a boat pose. You should feel your hip flexors, you should feel your quads, you should feel your stomach. Just breathing here, focusing on the breath, the inhales and the exhales. We drop the feet, just cross over the feet, hands to the sides. We just lift the feet off the floor again. Back down through Dandasana, flexing the feet. I'm just going to take that again. So toes on the floor, hold behind the knees as we lift the knees. Sorry, lift the feet off. Remember to try and keep these knees pulling together as we take the hands away, lifting the chest, keeping the back straight, gaze above the feet, focusing on the breath, breathing through any tension. this time. And just lift the knees off the floor. Okay. Third time now, we can stay where we were. We can perhaps lift the knees a bit higher. Remember, we're getting fatigued now. Really focusing on keeping the core tight, back lifted, chest forward. So take hold of the knees. Sorry, take hold of the legs behind the knees. Lift the feet. Perhaps we can take the feet, point the toes, hands either side of the knees. If this is too much, we can leave them where they are. Or as long as the knees are lifted, you can drop the feet down if that's more comfortable. So we hold, we focus, firing up that core, firing up the energy, creating heat, empowering us. And relax down. Well done, just cross the ankles and roll over on the knees, down the back, down through our child's pose. Just taking one arm, so the right arm, feed it through the left, just creating a gentle twist. Bringing the right arm back, left arm feeds through, twisting to the other side. Just counterposing the stomach. Bringing both arms forward, back up to all fours. Just going to come through onto our back, so lowering down, feet flat on the floor, feet close to the sit bones. So if we're touching, we should just be able to touch our heels. And even if the palms flat on the floor, we're just going to lift up with the hips into a slight bridge. Nice and easy, peeling each vertebrae off the floor one by one. Chest in, knees together, using the glutes as we lower back out. Inhale, lift. Thumb hold here. Arms overhead. Exhale, lower the body. And bring the arms back down. Once again, leave the arms where they are. Inhale the hips high. Hold here. Bring the arms above the head. Exhale back down. Slow with control. Bring the arms either side. Okay, let's take another slight twist. So hands, arms out in T shape. We're going to drop the knees to the left. Gaze to the right. Just hold this twist. Balancing. Counterposing. Bring the knees over to the other side. So we gaze to the left. Knees relaxing to the right. Back to centre. Bring the knees into the chest. Head lifts. Just relaxing back down, taking the legs out. Relaxing the feet. Relaxing the shoulders as we begin to prepare for Shavasana. If you're comfortable with the knees bent, if that's the case, just let the knees knock together. Nothing tense here, we're relaxing, composing, listening, focusing on the breath. with our practice, allowing the body to balance, to digest, to calm. Eyes closed, palms to the ceiling. Just let the chin relax, the lower jaw just relaxing, just opening slightly. Listen to the breath. Enjoying the time to nourish. When you're ready, falling onto your right hand side, slowly coming up to a seated position. Hands to the heart centre, closing the eyes, rubbing the palms over the eyes, opening the eyes to the energy, and back to the heart centre, eyes open. Thank you for sharing your practice today, from my heart to yours. Namaste.